Just finished editing yesterday, 2 days ago, video on the Bronco build. This is one of the best parts about uploading a video and being on the platform. The completion time and releasing it so that way you can see how it's received by everyone. This is when it's all worth it. However, YouTube has definitely changed drastically, I would say, over the last 4 years since I've been on the platform. Let me walk through what I think it's like to start and any tips and tricks by both my successes and failures so far on this platform. But first, I gotta get ready still. And now the only reason I include those clips is because the first and most important message of YouTube is consistency. I myself have definitely fell victim to this. And honestly, more than anything else, all I can recommend is consistency of uploads, whether it feels like work or not. So let's get to work. And so the good news is that every single person right now has what they need to start a YouTube channel. Cell phones, from when I started, even in the last couple of years, have just gotten so good. Audio quality is the biggest thing you can do. And then so you add that in with, honestly, these cameras. I don't think you need the fake background blur of the new iPhones, but the amount of light they let in, the image quality, it's plenty good. A lot of the YouTubers I watch personally are using GoPros and cell phones. Am I drawn to the ones using a little bit fancier cameras? Sure, because there's more production quality. There's a little bit more effort that goes into just that type of storytelling. However, you really just need a cell phone. So if you have a good message, if you have content you want to create, get started. That's the biggest thing, and I think everyone says this, is get started and be consistent. So I won't linger on those too much, but without either of those, you're never gonna have a channel. You know, every day I make my bed, and then every day this seems to happen. You're lucky I love you. So I really started back in like 2018, I would say, is when I was frequently uploading. I was really dove into this world. And at that point, it was interesting. I would have some videos just take off. Like my third or fourth video I did on a MacBook that had just came out, and it skyrocketed. And I was like, I got this. I got this, YouTube. Yeah, well, the reality is you're gonna get punched in the gut because not all videos are gonna do that well. You're gonna have videos you're super proud of that just don't perform at all, and you're gonna have other videos which you're not even sure if you should upload, and then they'll do wonderfully well. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. And so I struggle with that a lot, is how much production do you need to actually put into it? And let me just say, you definitely do not need setups like this. I'm running a few studio lights, I've got a sound mixer. This is gonna be something eventually that you may wanna step into if your channel does well. But I even talked about this in a recent video with other things that I have. I used to do a lot of camera gear reviews, so I was constantly buying more gear because I needed stuff to review. Eventually, people will start sending you things. Don't fall victim to that, and I mean that in a weird way, because if you have a company which you've been buying products from, or you have something that you really like and have been thinking about purchasing, and that company reaches out, clearly take that. But what's gonna happen is a lot of random third parties that make kind of cheap knockoffs are also gonna be reaching out and wanting to send you stuff. And it's really cool at the beginning. It's a lot of fun to get free stuff, and it feels like validation that your channel's doing well. A problem with that, which I fell into very quickly, was I was always doing my channel as kind of a passion project on the side. I always had a full-time job going on in the background. And so I really had to balance. This started feeling like a job now too. And that's actually a lot of why I fell off. I fell off big in 2019. 2020 was just a weird year. I also had some personal stuff going on through this time. And honestly, that's my biggest regret now, is not staying consistent through that whole time, because I know if I had, I probably would have a much bigger channel than I do right now. And so one thing I did for 2022, not only have I been actually downsizing some of the stuff inside of my bedroom and apartment here, but I made sure I wanted to set up everything so I can just walk in and record. So I already had the sound deadening up. I moved my desk a little bit. We've now got our Procaster on here for audio. That's actually hooked up to our shotgun mic, and then also the Procaster mic. I basically have the switches, which will turn on both lights very easily when I need them. So I can just walk in and film now. And that's something I can't recommend enough, is just having a clean space to be able to walk in and film. You don't have to worry about, oh, is everything set up? Is the audio gonna be good? Is the video gonna be good? Is my lighting correct? Set something up as small or as large as you can for your needs, for your budget, for your space, because then at that point, all you're gonna have to do is focus on telling your story and your craft, and you're not gonna have to worry as much about the technical stuff. Tough love comes in, you gotta suck it up and you gotta roll up your sleeves and get dirty. Add into the fact that over those 4 years we've seen since 2018 to now 2022, social media has just taken up so much of everyone's lives. TikTok took off. We've got Instagram taking up a big thing and adding reels. A lot of people are drawn to this video content, but there's also a lot of noise. And it's tough to get your channel or your word out there when there's so much noise, especially when a lot of it is being driven by trends. Now that's where I start to get really conflicted. I can't bring myself to follow trends. It just makes me feel like a sheep. I get why people do it, and I get why it's funny in a lot of scenarios, but that's kind of mindless entertainment, if that makes sense. And I'm not saying that everyone out there is doing this. I'm just saying the things where you're just talking over someone else's edit and you're doing your own thing, like, it just doesn't click with me, and YouTube is not that platform. I hope it doesn't become that platform. Shorts is a whole interesting aspect on here. I personally haven't dove into yet. They actually added me into the Creator Club at one point where they were gonna pay me to do a short, and I just struggled. I ended up not doing one. I probably should have, just to see what happens. YouTube to me is not a platform where you wanna watch 15-second clips. You wanna come here to learn something, to engage, and I wanna be able to engage with you guys, look at the comments, respond, let you ask questions, let you suggest things for future videos. And so that brings me to another point. Don't read into your comments too much, because you get a lot of positive ones, and it's so easy to overlook those. I get a lot where people are just, great job, great review. And then you also get the contrasting ones. Some are just downright rude. Other ones just don't make sense. Like, I've had some where I've done camera comparisons and they'll say, oh, you should have compared it to this camera. Well, this camera came out months after I released this video. So you just got to take it with a grain of salt. I recommend looking at the feedback, thumbs up, thumbs down. What's your view duration? View duration is critically important to the overall success. Finding that sweet spot in your content style is really what's important. How are you going to get viewers to want to be engaged, to want to keep listening to you? These new kind of talking head things are not necessarily the videos I've always done in the past. Right now, I'm trying to produce a good amount of content. I'm focusing on the whole craft, my studio setup. So you're gonna get a mix. You're gonna get a mix of vlogs, you're gonna get a mix of tech reviews, you're gonna get some talking heads like this. And a lot of that is, one, I wanna make sure I'm getting my content and message out there, but two, I've gotta understand what's gonna do well. What do you guys actually want to watch and listen to? So we'll keep that journey up and keep chugging forward. YouTube is definitely an interesting platform in 2022. And I think anyone who wants to get started should. Just know that there's gonna be good times, there's gonna be bad times, and especially starting out, there's a lot more bad times than good. All that said, let's dive into some unique tips, because I've watched some of these other videos out there and I wanna make sure I hit on things that are gonna add distinct, unique value to this one. And so one of the most important things I've found, at least in my success, and seems to not be talked about a ton, are tags. So at the end of the day, YouTube is just a search platform. So how does it do this? Well, I'm sure they're doing visual analysis on the back end to figure out and index your video. It's also grabbing a transcript. So it's converting everything you say in it into closed captionings automatically, and it's for sure pulling some metadata out of that. However, if you're not tagging your videos, that's really telling it, hey, here's the content inside of this. When people search for these phrases, here's what you should show in the results. So super critical that you do this with all your videos and use every character you can. They're gonna give you a 500 character limit on every video. That's across all your tags. Now, what I've done in the past was purchase things such as TubeBuddy. I have a lot of friends that have recommended and used this. And the funny thing is, I actually found that the tags I was using earlier, before I bought this tool, were working really well. TubeBuddy was actually giving me in the high 90% score on my own tagging that I was doing for free. So I want to show you how to tag, what I recommend, what I go through as a workflow that's completely free. Number one is rapid tags, not sponsored, don't know them, just randomly found this and it's super easy to use. Literally just type the subject of your video in here and anything will work. So getting started overlanding, for example. And then boom, it's gonna spit out in a 500 character count every suggested tag that it thinks is in there. Now, typically what I'll do then, it'll recommend kind of complementary things. So if I'm doing a camera review, I may enter a Sony camera in here and it's gonna pop up Canon stuff. Now, one side of the argument is that's actually good because people are also gonna search for that and might find your video, but sometimes it's just not relevant. So you can always close these out and then type in your own. You click copy, and that's gonna allow you to immediately just copy right into YouTube Studio without any work. Now let's go and take a look at one of my recent videos that I've just posted and go to the tags. So these are all the tags in here, and you can see with TubeBuddy, I think I still have the free version installed, it's telling me certain relevancy levels of these different tags. And honestly, one of the best ways to get tags isn't even rapid tags, just go into YouTube and start searching for stuff. So for example, if we're doing a 70-200 review for Sony, I can see what people are searching for. I see my searches at the top, and then I see f4, f2.8, verse f2.8. So these are the things I know people are searching for. I can just grab these and throw them in my tags as well, because these are showing up based on relevancy. It's auto prediction. What have people been searching for? You can also click on one of those and then kind of scroll through and look at some of the video titles, which ones are the top performers in here that you should watch. That's gonna be another good indicator that you can pull from. Kind of cool seeing one of my videos near the top. That's the other side of the house, is that YouTube is gonna curate everything for what it thinks you want. So my results might not be the exact same as yours, but when you're doing things like these search indexes, those are pretty generic across the board. So thumbnails is another hot topic. There's a lot of good videos out there how to create enticing thumbnails. What I used to do was just kind of grab an exciting clip from my video and then I'd put a title over top of that. Sometimes I still do that. Sometimes now I'll take discrete images. But a good way to do it and see if your thumbnail is going to be entertaining, after you publish your video, scroll through. Does it pop out? Does it catch your eye, or does it just kind of blend in? You don't want to necessarily look like all the other thumbnails out there. So that's something I definitely recommend, is kind of figure out a way to make sure yours is going to pop out a little bit without going too crazy. The other balance to that then is, are people looking at your thumbnail or are people looking at the text and the title? Personally, I'm a thumbnail guy, so I always like to make sure there's some text incorporated into my thumbnail, and it might even be the title of the video. If you have a good video, if you have good tags, if you've got niche, the title is gonna make people click, but don't be too clickbaity and make sure it's relevant. I try to always provide what's kind of the overall theme of this video. I try to make sure it's gonna be unique as well. So if it's a Sony 70-200 review, I'm not just gonna put Sony 70-200 review. I'm gonna do something like out and about with the Sony 70-200, the best 70-200 I've used. Just kind of these emphasizing words that are gonna make it a little more creative and make someone really wanna click and view it, because again, it's unique. The main problem I've experienced, and I can only imagine when you have all these competing platforms in 2022, social media, YouTube, television, all these streaming things, is making sure your message is heard. So be true to yourself, make sure the video speaks to what you want to convey in it, and have fun while you're doing it. So that's gonna do it for today. Hope you guys got something out of this. Hope you enjoyed it. Whether you're starting a channel or not, hopefully you found this informational. Really enjoying 2022 so far, trying to be consistent on here, doing my best. Again, I'm trying to do that through releasing all these videos instead of just talking about it. So I'll let you guys end with that. Hit that thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe if you want to see more. And as always, it's been a pleasure.